What up? Marsh Pod. We are back after a 2-week hiatus on here. We're recording this on a Sunday afternoon, 4 p.m. opening day of SWFL just concluded. We're going to cover most of that, or we will have by the time this comes out, cover most of that on SimWorld today. So instead, on here, we're going to talk about SimWorld U. Some news coming out over the weekend. Some more recruiting trips going on, and some news that I've collected from across the ether that felt like worthwhile inclusions to dive into. So without further ado, let's do just that. Let's start in Alabama, where it was announced over the weekend on Sunday that per Samuel Charles, that DJ Childs has a grade 3 MCL sprain that was confirmed by the MRI that occurred on Friday. That obviously does not give you much confidence when you're thinking about, okay, what's the upside of this Alabama team, because DJ Childs is the straw that stirs the proverbial glass. He is everything for this program. Now, they do have other good pieces, but if Childs is not at 100%, Alabama's chances in a very good SEC go down dramatically. Obviously, I don't think this is going to be an indictment on Childs. I think he's still going to be a very high-level basketball player. It's just a matter of when does he get healthy, and I think if there's any reason for it, I would say just by the fact that this team doesn't have a lot of other pieces, this would be a great opportunity to just build him up, right? If he misses opening night, but you get him back in mid-October, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I'm just saying an if-then scenario. If that were to be the case, then I think that sets you up a lot better for the long run. Now, if he's ready to go day one and there's no real impacts for him in terms of being slowed down by the injury, then let him run. But I think that if he's limited, the rest of this roster just doesn't really exude confidence. They don't really know who they're going to be starting with the last two spots. Rodrigo Childs is among those. Aiden Weaver, Levin Cutler, Aaron Matthews are the four options right now. But if DJ Childs can't go, or is, like I said, maybe a little bit lesser version of himself, shooting has to be the priority for this team. You have a great playmaker when Childs is healthy, but he's in need of space to clear the floor. And Falls and Matthews, who have been listed as the current favorites, make the most sense. Rodrigo Falls particularly just because I think he's got a little bit more trustworthiness than Weaver. He's a very similar skill set, but more polished than the freshman is. I really don't dislike the idea of Weaver and Falls though in the starting lineup. The problem with that is there's just no size inside, and that's why I think you probably end up with Matthews to start the season, though I would not be at all surprised if Levin Cutler ends up getting starts and becoming the starter over Matthews. Levin Cutler's a better offensive weapon. He brings a little bit more versatility. He's not a great shooter. He's not a great playmaker. He's not a great scorer with the ball, but he's better at all three of those things than Aaron Matthews is. Matthews is just a great interior defender and rebounder. Levin Cutler can provide that. I would not be shocked at all if we see Aaron Matthews start opening night against Arizona, and then over time you see Cutler start to get more and more minutes and eventually take over the starting role. Second one, Illinois. Quote was provided to us about there's some concerns about maybe the schedule not being great for Illinois early on. I don't share those same concerns, and I really don't buy that, okay? Two of their games come against unranked teams in Mississippi State and Oregon. I would say two teams that I think that Illinois is better than. I don't believe in Missouri at number 25. I get that they have Jeff Towns. I get that he's awesome, but the rest of this roster is so concerning to me. The fact that they didn't get any other recruits until the last day of the recruitment period essentially does not make me feel great about their upside. So the only two games that I think have any type of feel is number 1 Miami and then Texas, who kind of feels a little overrated at number 9 coming into the season. I'm not sure why we're looking at them and saying they're better than all but 8 teams. They did not make the Sweet 16. They did not make the Elite 8. They are not a basketball team that I sit and get worried about. So I actually think there's a very real chance Illinois walks out of the month of October at least 3-2, if not 4-1. And I think they set themselves up to be a player in the Big Ten. The Big Ten was absolutely dynamic last season, and Illinois is throwing their hat into that ring. This was a team that finished above 500 last year. I think this is a very dangerous basketball team, and I am not at all concerned about a struggling start because 3 of their teams are ranked in Missouri, Texas, and Miami. Miami's the one team that you look at and say, this team's better than Illinois. The other 4, I'm not getting on board with that assumption at all. All right, let's head to Duke, where I've been told that there is still some concern about who that last starter is going to be, but it's not going to be Adelson Sampaio. He is not likely to get the starting spot. It's likely to go to DeMario Duval and Jeremiah Minor for the second guard spot next to Roderick Little. I don't know that this is a great option here. This is a team that needs size. Okay, Roderick Little is 6'1", and they aren't really going to be able to survive, in my opinion, in the ACC if they go out with 2 guys that are that size or smaller. And you look at the teams that they're going to be going up against. Miami, Dominic Bianco in their backcourt with Edgar Fernandez as 6'2", 6'3". Is it a vast difference? No, it's obviously not. UNC, they only have 1 starter confirmed at this point. It's Porter, he's 6'2". Virginia Tech, and these are just the 3 teams that had the best records last season. Virginia Tech has no confirmed starters next season, but they have just 2 players, 6'3" and below, in Kenyon Paris and Tysam Kaiser. What my point is that the ACC is not small. And so if you are going to bring out Roderick Little at 6'1", and let's say Jeremiah Minor, who's 5'11", you're going to be in a massive disadvantage, which is why I think it's probably likely we end up seeing DeMario Duval at the second starting guard position. Although I just think it's foolish if Adelson Sampaio is not in the mix. He's 6'3". He brings a lot of things to the floor, but Duval is just a better scorer. So if that's what you're looking for next to Roderick Little and just having a very high-tempo, up-tempo ability to score backcourt, then DeMario Duval is the guy. Adelson Sampaio does have a decent upside, but he's very raw coming in as a freshman. But he proved himself last season in South America to be a guy that can create on the ball and create in unique situations. I absolutely think Adelson Sampaio should be a starter for Duke. The fact that he's so-called not in the mix for that, to me, seems like a bit of a detriment. You need all the size you can get in the backcourt, but you also need all the scoring you can get because Cooper Flag is going to be seeing so much defensive attention that you need guys that can get the ball, which is why it makes sense that DeMario Duval might be the initial thought. I just think Adelson Sampaio can work his way into that. That's our show. We're going to come back next Monday. We'll keep rolling. It's challenging to talk SimWorld, SWFL, just because we're doing it every single day on SimWorld today. But if there's any topics that you feel are worth diving into or that pop up, certainly we'll be doing that. But look, we've got, I think, 3 or 4 shows left before October hits, and that means SimWorld U basketball games are rolling, which is obviously what we're going to be hitting on here. So very excited for that. We'll keep doing these little previews as we ramp up for that. Thank you for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, obviously here through YouTube. Thanks to our production team. We'll be back next Monday.